Have you ever looked at a woman and thought, is she into me or am I just imagining things? It's a question every man has asked, but few ever truly answer. Because attraction, real, raw, undeniable attraction, isn't always loud. It's subtle, quiet. It slips through eye contact, a touch, a moment. And if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it. Here's the truth. Most women will never say it out loud. They won't text you, "I want you." They won't confess it directly because they don't need to. Their body, their vibe, their tiny decisions, that's the real language of desire. The problem? Most men don't see it. Not because they're foolish, but because they're either too hungry for attention or too caught up in their own heads to truly observe. But that's where Stoicism gives you an edge. When you become grounded, centered, detached from the need to prove yourself, you start to see what others can't. You see the way she looks at you when you're not watching, the way she positions herself when you walk into a room, the way her energy shifts when it's just you and her. In this video, we're going to decode 6 powerful signs, subtle, unspoken signals that a woman wants you. Not someday, not maybe, but now. And we'll break each of them down through the lens of Stoic power. Calm observation, silent confidence, and emotional discipline. Because the Stoic man doesn't chase. He doesn't flinch, he doesn't try to impress, he lets her come closer by simply being unshakably himself. So if you're ready to stop guessing and start seeing clearly, let's begin. Sign 1, the lingering eye contact. Her first silent invitation. She looks at you and doesn't look away. That's not an accident. That's not politeness. That's an ancient invitation. The kind older than words, older than strategy, older than logic. It's instinct, primal, deeply feminine. When a woman holds your gaze longer than normal, even just for a few seconds, she's not just observing you, she's testing you. She's opening the door to a space where very few are allowed, and what she's watching for is how you carry yourself in that silence. Here's where most men fail. Some look away too fast, out of fear or awkwardness, revealing a lack of inner confidence. Others do the opposite. They stare with intensity, trying to dominate the moment. But that kind of energy is desperate, needy, performative. The Stoic man does neither. He doesn't look away. He doesn't overdo it. He simply meets her gaze, calm and grounded, and lets it linger. Like a man who has nothing to prove. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about being hard to shake. It's about anchoring yourself so deeply in the present moment that you're unfazed by the tension, unfazed by desire, and yet fully aware of it. When a woman sees that you're not intimidated by her attention, that you can match her energy without being overtaken by it, that's when intrigue begins. That's when you become unforgettable. A lingering gaze is not a small thing. It's a silent question she's asking. The way you answer it, with presence, not pressure, says everything about the kind of man you are. Sign 2, the accidental touch. That isn't accidental at all. She brushes against your arm. Her hand lingers just a little too long on your shoulder. Her leg finds its way closer under the table. You think it's subtle. You think it's a coincidence, but it's not. Touch is one of the most ancient, primal ways women signal desire, especially when words can't be spoken freely. And when she reaches out physically, even in the smallest ways, she's telling you something that runs deeper than a compliment ever could. But it's not just about the touch itself. It's about how and when it happens. Is she initiating it more than once? Is the touch gentle but intentional? Does she lean into your personal space during conversations when there's clearly room not to? These micro-signals, if repeated, are not accidental. They're a test, not of your strength, but of your awareness. She's not looking for a reaction. She's looking for a man who notices, but doesn't flinch. A Stoic man doesn't get excited like a boy getting his first crush. He doesn't rush to return the touch. He simply notices. He registers the signal, and he holds his ground, with subtle poise and restraint. Because the more composed you are in moments of rising tension, the more she senses that you're different, that you're in control, that you're not desperate for approval. You're just present. Touch is trust. It's vulnerability. When a woman initiates it, she's lowering her guard just slightly to see if you'll meet her with grounded masculinity or if you'll collapse into neediness. The The Stoic man meets her exactly where she is, calmly, confidently, and with quiet strength. And in doing so, he turns subtle contact into powerful connection. Sign 3. She creates private moments, not just conversations. A woman who wants you wants privacy. Not because she's shy, but because she understands something that most men don't. Intimacy doesn't bloom in a crowd. It thrives in the quiet, in the space between just two people, where energy becomes louder than words. So when she pulls you aside at a party, it's not random. When she texts you late at night with a soft, "Are you still up?" it's not small talk. When she suggests you leave the group to grab a drink, take a walk, or just talk for a bit, she's not being polite. She's testing the waters of closeness without making it too obvious. Women rarely spell it out. Instead, they create the conditions where something more could happen and then step back to see how you'll respond. That private moment isn't just about getting your attention. It's about seeing if you can meet her in that vulnerable space, emotionally, mentally, and possibly physically. For the Stoic man, this is not a moment to assume or project. It's a moment to sense, to feel the shift, to respect the space, but also recognize what it means. You don't push, you don't play games, you simply acknowledge the opportunity and stay fully present in it. Because here's the truth. A woman who craves your presence won't always say it with words. She'll say it by wanting to be away from the noise, with you. And your ability to handle that moment with calm strength, not pressure, not performance, is what tells her she was right to choose your energy. Privacy is the first layer of her trust. If she's offering it, she's offering access. Don't waste it with immaturity. Don't mistake it for something casual. For the man who knows how to listen between the lines, a private moment speaks volumes. If you're finding value in this so far, and you want to keep learning how Stoicism can sharpen your awareness, confidence, and power as a man, then do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. It's one small click for you, but it means everything to us. It helps us grow this channel and bring you even more content that speaks to who you're becoming. Thank you. Sign 4. Flirtatious body language. The dance beneath the surface. A woman's body always speaks before her lips do, and when she's attracted to you, her body starts a conversation her words are too guarded to say. You'll notice it, not in loud, exaggerated moves, but in subtle shifts that most men overlook. She leans in, just a bit closer than she needs to. Her eyes follow your movements. She mirrors your posture, your rhythm, your energy. And all of it happens without effort, because desire, when real, is subconscious. The Stoic man sees what others miss. He notices how her hands play with her necklace, how her fingers fidget lightly when she's near. He notices how she adjusts her clothes mid-conversation, not because she's uncomfortable, but because she suddenly cares more about how she looks around you. Even the smallest gestures, like tucking her hair behind her ear, biting her lip during pauses, or tilting her head when you speak, are signals. They're not rehearsed, they're instinctual. Her body is moving closer, even if her words are still playing it cool. Pay attention to her feet. Are they pointed toward you, even when her body is slightly turned away? Are her knees angled in your direction? The human body aligns itself with what it wants and what it feels safe around. Now here's where the Stoic principle matters. You don't react. You don't brag to yourself. You don't become giddy or start assuming anything. You simply observe with awareness and grace. The man who is unshaken by attraction, who sees it but doesn't seek to own it, is the man who becomes most magnetic. Women can feel when you're present but not needy, attentive but not desperate. That's where power lives. So when her body starts to speak in this unspoken language, listen. But don't chase. Let the dance unfold step by subtle step. She's not looking for someone to overpower her. She's looking for someone who can match her rhythm. And when you do that, not with bravado, but with quiet confidence, you create something most men never touch. Real, mutual tension. The kind that can turn a glance into a memory. Sign 5. She compliments you differently. You smell really good. You always wear such sharp clothes. I love your voice. These aren't just compliments. These are coded messages, subtle, layered, and specific, aimed not at your ego, but at your essence. Because when a woman starts complimenting you on the details that most people overlook, she's doing more than being kind, she's expressing desire in disguise. The average woman doesn't take the time to notice the angle of your jawline, the tone of your voice, or the way your cologne lingers when you walk away, unless she's imagining you closer, much closer. She might say you always look so put together, or you have this calm energy about you. That's not about fashion or personality. That's her saying, I notice you in ways others don't because I want to. It's not about flattery. It's about connection. And here's the Stoic difference. The immature man gets excited, soaks in the praise like validation. He takes the compliment and lets it inflate his sense of worth. But the Stoic man sees it for what it is, a window into her curiosity. You don't gloat. You don't get cocky. You simply file it away. You notice the timing. Does she compliment you when you're alone? Does her tone soften when she says it? Does she look you in the eye just a second longer? Those are not surface-level observations. They're invitations to let the tension breathe. And the more you remain unshaken, the more she'll lean in, wondering how someone so magnetic could be so grounded. So the next time she compliments your scent, your voice, or how you carry yourself, understand that she's not just admiring you, she's picturing more. And the calm way you receive that compliment, that's what turns attraction into fascination. Sign 6. She brings up sexual topics, lightly but intentionally. This one separates the boys from the men. When a woman starts mentioning sensual jokes, referencing scenes from steamy movies, or teasing you in ways laced with innuendo, she's not just being playful, she's testing your emotional maturity. Why? Because sexual topics are the final frontier before physical intimacy. And before she steps into that space, she needs to know one thing. Can you handle it like a man, or will you fall apart like a boy? She might drop a line like, that movie was intense, or mention how she loves massages. She might joke about her wild side, or even bring up past dating stories that brush against intimacy. Every one of these moments is a temperature check, a carefully placed hint to see if you can stay composed in the presence of suggestion. If she brings it up playfully, she's not just gauging your comfort, she's measuring your leadership in intimacy. She's looking for a man who can hold space for desire without being consumed by it. Most men fail here. They get excited, they turn into entertainers or creeps. They jump in too fast, laugh too hard, or try to escalate too soon. That's not attractive. That's insecure. The Stoic man, on the other hand, doesn't react. He reads the current. He hears the innuendo, he catches the subtext, but he doesn't dive headfirst. He keeps eye contact, lets the moment hang, and replies with subtlety, with quiet knowing, not loud eagerness. Because here's the secret. If she's bringing it up, she's already thought about it. What she's looking for now isn't confirmation of your desire. She already knows that. She's looking for proof of your control. And that's where your magnetism lies. In restraint. In emotional command, in your ability to explore that space with her, not as a conquest, but as a man who respects timing, energy, and clarity. So when she plays on the edge of sensuality, don't shrink, don't rush, and definitely don't brag. Smile, be present. Let her feel the power of a man who doesn't need to prove anything, because he already knows his value. That's not just attractive, that's irresistible. The Stoic way of handling desire. Let's get one thing clear. Just because a woman wants you, doesn't mean you rush. It doesn't mean you suddenly change who you are to fit into her frame. And it definitely doesn't mean you throw away your presence, your poise, or your principles just to make something happen. A Stoic man does not act from desperation. He acts from clarity. He reads the signs, not as validation, but as information. He acknowledges her invitation, not with arrogance, but with understanding. And most importantly, he moves only when the moment aligns with his values, not his impulses. Because true power isn't found in making the first move. It's in knowing when not to. It's in having the awareness to feel the tension and the strength to hold it. Most men crumble under desire. The Stoic man stands firm, not to prove anything, but because he's already enough. This journey isn't just about attraction. It's about becoming a man who is so deeply rooted in who he is that women feel his energy without him needing to perform. You don't need to chase, you don't need to impress. You simply become the kind of man who naturally draws others in, not by trying harder, but by being unshakably himself. So remember, don't react, observe, don't rush, read, don't chase, become. The moment you stop needing her attention is the moment she starts giving it freely. Not because you asked, but because you've become undeniable. If this video spoke to you, if it helped sharpen your awareness and reframe the way you see attraction, then hit that like button. Subscribe for more real talk on Stoic philosophy, masculine power, and mastering your frame in a world that wants you reactive. And make sure to tap the notification bell so you never miss a lesson. This is Stoic Spirit, where men rise not by chasing, but by becoming. Thanks for watching. Stay grounded, stay powerful, and I'll see you in the next one.